Welcome back, family and friends. My name is Old Mechanic James. Bienvenidos amigos and amigas. Mi amo es Viejo Mecánico Hombre. Jaime. I just wanted to give you an update from my last video. It was part 3, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm old, don't remember. I can't even remember where I put my remote control to run this camera. That's pretty bad. So I'm relying on you guys to tell me where did I put that remote control. I had it here, but I can't find it. So anyways, we're working on the Mercruiser 4.3 V6 engine. And the last video I uploaded was about the heads. We prepped the heads, cleaned the heads, bottom, top, all the valves and everything that's on a head. We cleaned it up and made it nice and clean. We didn't send it to a machine shop because we didn't have to. So I cleaned them up. The last video showed how to install them, how to put in the bolts, the torque sequence, the foot pounds. We got all those done. The heads look good. Today, we're going to move forward on the next episode of putting on the timing chain, putting on all the gaskets, and mount the harmonic balancer. That's our video for today. Now I wanted to show you, I purchased this timing chain cover gasket, and along with a water pump gasket. It's got several different items that come with it. So as you can see, the water pump gaskets, it's got the, I don't use this, but this is for the oil pan, and then you got the little seal around the harmonic balancer and the crankshaft. This is brand new. The one I got in there hasn't even been used. It's brand new. I put it on the last time we built this. Anyway, that's the part number. I don't know if you can see that. It's TCS45121. That's the kit I get. It's like $7, maybe $8 at the most. Anyway, so here we are. What I'm going to do and show you first is just basically the timing chain cover. I mean, it's pretty easy, self-explanatory. If I can get off my regs. Most of you guys already know how to do all this. But basically, I've got it all nice and clean. I took my steel wheel, cleaned it all up, took all the gasket off. I used my razor blade. Whatever you got that you can use. You know, just basically clean it up. No scratches, no indents. Keep it at its normal shape, the way it was brand new. Clean it all up. Looks nice all the way around. Make sure you get in here too. Clean all that up. So I'm going to put a little bit of gasket sealant on it. I got this handy duty black, ultra black gasket maker, oil resistant. That's what I like to put on this because this is going to be around the oil. So basically I just put a little bit all the way around. And a lot of you guys, you like to use them plastic gloves, but I'll tell you, them plastic gloves get in my way. Old school, man. We ain't afraid to get our hands dirty because they make that axle grease to clean them up. I don't know if anybody remembers some old jars, little white plastic hand wipe or hand cleaner, that's what it was. And it came in just a big old container. Well, that's what we did back in the day. We didn't have those little pretty hospital gloves a lot of you guys use today. You want to keep your fingers clean for your lady. I understand completely. Them ladies don't like that grease on them fingers. Oh, heck no, heck no. So basically, you just want to smooth this grease all the way around. You know, it's gasket sealant. I call it grease, but it's really gasket sealant. Just make a nice coat. Keep it real thin. You don't want to make it bulky in any area, because once you put on the other gasket, you want to keep this as flat and smooth as possible. So that's basically what you do right here. It's not too hard. It's pretty self-explanatory. What we want to do, our goal is to keep the oil from seeping out. I mean, the hardest part about any engine that you build, once you build it, you got it looking great, you got all your gaskets, sealants, everything in it, you throw it in your car, your truck, your boat, and the dang thing starts to leak oil out of the oil pan. Now, that's the most frustrating part of a build, is because, guess what? Most of us can't drop the oil pan from underneath the car. Now, some cars, some trucks, you use that cross member, you can move them out of the way. You can get to the oil pan on some vehicles. I have done that in the past. It's a bear. just to drop it down, just to put a new gasket or sealant or whatever, then slap it back up. But most times you got to pull that motor, and then it's all because you didn't seal it the first time. So what's important is always try to seal oil pan, timing chain cover, everything, head gaskets, everything the first time, so you don't have to tear it all back apart. I mean, just over a leak. Some of you can relate to that. Anyway, so that's it for that part. Now I'm going to take my timing chain gasket that I got here. Make sure this is clean. Got a little dog hair showing up. So basically I just take this, you know, it's pretty much, there's no front and back to it. However, it does have a little bit of blue stripes on the front side. So most of the gaskets you'll see a little bit of color, stripes or something on the front side. So I'm going to get this already done and out of the way. That way it'll start to harden before I even put on my timing chain or anything else. You know, I just want you guys to see what I do. And then you can do it your way, you can do it my way, you can do it somebody else's way. But hey, I want to give a shout out to a couple of friends of mine. There was a gentleman who works at Tractor Supply. I can't pronounce his name, Holly Liberta. But I told him about my YouTube channel and told him about my mechanical work on an engine. He went ahead and subscribed. So, hey, Tractor Supply buddy, thanks for subscribing. And then a young lady up in south of Dallas, Perla and her family, they subscribed. I think yesterday or the day before. All her family, they're into mechanics and cars, and they like to do these kind of things. So it helps me when everyone subscribes. I love the thumbs up. I like the thumbs down if you don't like it, but give me a comment. If you give me a thumbs down, give me a comment. Maybe there's something I need to change, fix, make better. I mean, you know, I'm always open to improvements. So I want to thank you too. Thank you guys for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, just go to Old School Mechanic James and subscribe. It's that easy. Well, there we are, folks. We got our gasket on. It looks pretty darn good. Now, I'll put another little sealant, but I'll put it on here. Later, when I'm ready to put this on, I'm going to put a little bit more gasket sealant there. But right now, that's in pretty good shape, don't you think? All the holes line up. Yeah, it's going to stay. It ain't going nowhere. All right, get that out of the way. Okay, so here we are. We got our block here. We got our, it's already set at top dead center. And if you can see, there's a dot right there at that tooth. You probably can't see it from there, but if you can zoom in or not, or you want to trust me, we don't do that anymore, do we? Trust people? So there's a dot at the top of that gear, and there's also advanced timing numbers, but I'm not going to mess with them because I know this block already is how much it's advanced out at 10 degrees advanced. So I'm going to do that later on when I do the timing on it. So that dot matches the top dot up here. So basically you get the big wheel, the big gear. There's only one way this goes on. It can go on two ways, but the back side is higher here, it's higher groove. So you know that's the back side. The front side is inner groove. It just sinks in. And that's where your bolts go. And it's also got a stamp on it, probably the part number or stamp number of the gear. Well, there's a dot right next to that stamp. So I'll show you guys. You can see it or not. Yeah. So that dot right there has to match, that tooth matches the bottom tooth. Now sometimes I'll mark those teeth. If I'm not 100% sure, stay with me. This is something I like to do every now and then. I've had a few gears over the years that you can barely see that dot, right? So I'll take a little bit of touch-up paint. I'll just keep a bottle laying around somewhere. And I'll touch that tooth right where I said I was going to line it up. And I'll do the same thing on this tooth. I'll try not to cover the dot because then I'll really be messed up. But I know that dot represents, that paint represents where the dot is. Okay? So once again, that's what I do. I'll put a little bit of whatever you want to use to mark it. That way you got a perfect lineup. If you're old like me, you don't have good eyes, you just basically come in, you find that little cam, Find that little cam notch, and you're gonna be pretty darn close anyway. Get that little stud that sticks out. All right, come on. I know it's that way. Just gotta get it to sink in. All right, come on. Don't make a liar out of me. There we go. Whoop. No, that ain't gonna work. Huh. Well, something ain't working. I'll tell you what isn't working. It's the operator. Today I'm not a smooth operator. Okay, so basically I see what it wants me to do is just get this stud in there, right? And then the holes are there. And so I gotta line that cam up. So I gotta bring that cam up higher. Do it again. All right. Now we're getting closer. Now I see where that is. I see the mark, and I see my both holes. So I move it like this. Come back in. All right. There we are. We're getting closer. So you kind of get this set up first before you even think about putting a screw or a nut or a bolt in it. You know, your holes are lined up right there, so we're pretty close right there. We'll move it just a hair more. All right. I think we're there. I think we're there. So there's all three holes lined up. There's my mark, top and bottom. I think that's it right there. However, I don't know. For some reason, I don't like the way that sits. But it's the way it goes. I'm 100% sure. Okay, so that's it. We got it lined up. We got the cam lined up. We got the bottom two marks lined up. Now we got to take the timing chain. And I don't know if it's the Mercruiser timing chains or if it's I don't know what the deal is, but when I put this timing chain on, there's a little slack in it. A lot of guys say, hey, get brand new chains every time. But this chain ain't old. I mean, this engine was rebuilt and everything was new. And so it hadn't even run, it had that knock in it because they had the wrong bearings in it. And so the crankshaft got scored. That's why I had to replace the crankshaft. However, when I put this on, and you'll see, we're gonna kind of figure it out right now. So there's the notch. And, well, pretty darn good. However, why is that not sinking in? Okay, we got an issue here. Not sure what the issue is. Because that thing should be sliding all the way on, and it's not. And I'm wondering. Let's take a couple shots at this. Bear with me, folks. I'm not sure what's going on right now. Because this thing should be sliding right on that stud, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, it's lined up. The gear is lined up. The gear is lined up. All right, let's try it again. So these here are the bolts. Now they're dry. I'm going to put one on and start my process because they're dry. I like to put oil on them, but the first one or two I won't put oil, but I'll come back to it. All right, let's start over. Okay, so we're gonna go in here. We got that lined up. Oh, hang on. All right. Being a bear today. Anybody know about them bears? It's another hot day in Brookshire, Texas. All right. That doesn't seem right. Now that seemed right. Whatever happened there. Okay. All right. No, doesn't seem right. Let's see what's going on here. I'll tell you, I didn't have any problem earlier, and now I'm having an issue. Why? Why am I having an issue? All right. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's not. I gotta move over one link. All right, where is it? There it is. Alright, there we go. Now we're there. Now we're in. Alright. Now we're in. Alright. What's going on here? Huh. Well, it's acting like it's in, but I don't like the way it's acting. It's lined up. Let's see if we can get one more in there. See if that's gonna make a difference. Alright. I got a little help. Not like a good old impact wrench to help you out. That tightens everything up. How about that? Huh? Huh? Oh yeah, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Had to go inside that little, push the cam in. The cam was a little too far out because of all the work I've been doing to clean and everything. So once the bolts started tightening up, it pushed the cam back a little, which seated the gear in its groove where it's supposed to be. It had a little lip that has to go just a little bit inside that wall around the cam shaft. So we got our dots lined up. We got this in. It looks pretty good overall. Now what I like to do, I'm going to show you guys, is I like to put a little oil on these things. I just like to oil them a little bit. Actually, let me take that back. I forgot. These are very important bolts. They need, everybody say it together, thread lock. You need some thread lock lubricant. I didn't put no thread lock in it. So forget the oil. That's not important. I'll be right back. Yes sir, yes sir. The old thread lock. Very important, especially on these bolts. You don't want these bolts coming back out. You don't want them even moving. That last thing you need is that gear to slip, and then everything just stops. So we're gonna put this one in first. Just a nice little coat, a little drip. We'll get her up in there. Alrighty. Okay. Now we'll bring the other ones out. That's why I always do one or two, even if they're dry with nothing on them, because it'll give you the opportunity to bring the other back them out and then put the lock thread on it. Thread lock. Lock thread, thread lock. Whatever floats your boat. You know the nice thing about getting old is you got a left brain, right brain, and sometimes the right brain don't know what the left brain's doing, so they cross over each other. It's like going to the other neighborhood, and then they come back. Every now and then. There we go. Now they got a torque on these. They're 10 to 12 foot-pounds. But you know what? This is about 10 to 12 foot-pounds. If you've done it as many times as I have. Some of these impact wrenches put a nice torque on them. It's not 100% sure, and we can torque them. Just so everybody sees what I do. No hidden secrets here. Alright, so we got that in. Now we're going to go ahead and torque them down. We're letting that gasket sealant dry on that timing cover gasket. I got a little bit of gook on this timing chain. Looked like somebody was putting some sealant on this timing chain. Well, we'll get that off real quick. Could have just been some overflow. Yeah. We don't need that there. Okay. Well, I like the way it looks. It looks good. It's nice and tight. It's tight on this side, a little bit loose on this side. Like I said, I don't like that too much. I'd rather have it super tight, make this thing really hard to put up in there. But it's a MerCruiser 4.3 boat engine. Yeah, I mean, the engine's the same as putting it in a car. Timing chain is timing chain. You want them tight. But it's brand new, so maybe it's the wrong size. But anyway, it looks good. Let me get a torque wrench on here. Torque it down. All right. I need to buy smaller ones. I don't have them smaller ones. I always want to get them. All right. Oh, behave. There we go. All right, we're in good shape. Let me just double check this. Gotta make sure. Sometimes you gotta use a metric if you don't have the right one. Nope. I left earlier videos. That'll work. My dad used to say, go get 3 sockets. One of them's gonna fit. Go get 3 wrenches. One of them's gonna fit. That's what my daddy used to say all the time. He had me run like 20 times to get 1 wrench to fit 1 nut. And then finally he said, well, get 3. 1 high, 1 low, 1 in the middle size. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, so I showed you in a previous video how we're gonna measure these things. You know, if you got the smaller torque wrench and you can go down to 10 foot-pounds, you're awesome. Me, I get down to the 30, because most of these start at 30. But then you gotta back it down, so it's weaker than 30. You back it down to 10, that tells you got 20. You back it down to 2, that means you got 12. So that's 12 right there. Yeah, see, like I said, that impact wrench, it's already got me set up. I'm gonna do 15 just to make double sure. And if it's